Sean Cruz at TD Ameritrade is with me now for the final trades of the day. I want to start with Caterpillar because a lot of attention is on this stock with the trade talks.
There has been, and actually if you look at Caterpillar, ever since we started to hear news about tariffs and realized there was going to be a little bit of a tit for tat, we've seen a lot of activity in Caterpillar. Now we got a little bit news of a little bit more of a strong retaliation from China, and you're starting to see a lot of these international companies with exposure to China come in a little bit. For Caterpillar, we're seeing a lot of activity at that 140 put level, which is right around where it's trading right now, and also at the 139 put level. So I think some investors might be going in there. I think you could see some sellers who think maybe the stock's not going to move that much lower and the move lower is already priced in, but you could see some traders also maybe wanting to hedge any long exposure they might have, and they're going to be buyers of those puts. And we're also seeing some selling in the 142 call side, and so I think what you're seeing is maybe somebody who has the stock and they're thinking maybe it's just going to hang around this 140 level, going a little out of the money and doing some selling in those calls. I think you could see a little bit of buying activity in there as well, but that would maybe be a little bit more of a speculative upside trade.
Lots of strategies going on.
There's a lot going on.
Covered call, hedging, and then people who are just saying, oh, it might go down a little bit more. Let's take a look at another name that's been on the radar, and that is Tesla. We've had some hedging going on in that stock, to be sure. Yes. And then some people had been shorting it probably, so multiple strategies there as well.
There is, and there's been a lot of movement in Tesla lately. So there was a lot of concern from investors when they said they were going to need to come out and they were going to raise more cash. And then there was also a little bit of optimism, I think, about their new model that was going to be a little bit more mass market. So when the numbers came out yesterday, analysts did not like what they hear, and I think you're seeing that stock move lower. So we're seeing a lot of activity at that 250 put level, but we're also seeing some activity at the 260 call level as well.
Let's take a look at one last stock, Goldman Sachs. The market is getting ready for earnings coming in, and the banks tend to report first. So what do you see happening here for GS?
So GS, this is another interesting development in their business model. We just had a new CEO come in, and he came from the banking side, and it looks like they're going to pivot their business and get a little bit more in commercial banking cash management. So we're starting to see a lot of activity on the call side. Around that 255 call level, we've seen some trades going off, and I think it's interesting that those trades are actually going to be in this week's expiration, even though we do have the bank earnings coming up shortly, but after this week's expiration. So a little bit more of a short-term play there.
Are they bullish then?
I think you're seeing right now, you're seeing some traders maybe want to get a little bit of a speculative upside trade going on in there, just if there is a real repricing of analysts coming out and saying they like this, and you see the stock move higher. I think maybe you do see some traders out there scooping up those calls that are cheap because the implied volatility is low with the no earnings priced in during that expiration cycle.
Wow, thanks for your trader talk today.
Thank you.
Check out businessfirstam.com to find out where to see our entire show. And don't forget to like, follow, and share Business First AM.